Welcome to the Press Box here at DSTV. I'm Luke Henney alongside my partner Brentaro. We're here for the final time this year, but it's our first time talking about hockey. That's right, Stanley Cup playoffs are not here quite yet. We still got about 2 to 3 weeks, but they're almost upon us, and it's time to get ready to talk about this year's favorites and sleepers to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup. While nothing is set in stone yet, we have a pretty clear picture of what this year's field looks like. So let's not waste any more time. Brentaro, who are you looking at as the favorite to win this year's Stanley Cup?
Well, my favorite to win the Stanley Cup is the Vegas Golden Knights, Luke. Robin Lehner and Marc-Andre Fleury could be considered one of the best goaltender duos in the league. Lehner was projected to have more starts at the beginning of the season, but because of the fact that he missed over a month due to concussion, Marc-Andre Fleury had to play more often, and he came in looking really strong. And he is helping the Golden Knights a lot, and he's a big part of why they're number first in the West Division right now. You look at Mark Stone, he's first captain in Vegas history before the season started. He showed up leading the team in points this season and assists. He'll be expected to continue to lead the way for the Golden Knights going into the playoffs. Vegas has won 8 in a row in 9 of the last 10 games, obviously, in my opinion, looking like one of the hottest teams in the league. If we assume that they'll be the number 1 seed in the division when the regular season's over, I expect them to definitely make it to the semifinals. You look at the production that their offensive players have had with Mark Stone, Max Pacioretty, Jonathan Marchessault. They're all just scoring. Shea Theodore, also just really good passing the puck, just producing a whole lot of assists, though, just showing that with the amount of assists he's had this season with the number of 32, that he's really trying to make all the players around him better. In the past 5 seasons, Peter DeBoer has made the playoffs, whether he was coaching in San Jose or Las Vegas. And he even made the Cup with the Sharks in the 15-16 season when they faced the Penguins. And with perhaps one of the most talented teams that he's ever coached, in my opinion, I would love to see how far he can take this team, and I think he can take them really far. So, yeah, I have the Golden Knights winning the Cup. What about you?
So, ironically enough, my Cup favorite comes from Vegas, the same division. They've really become great rivals, I would say, this this current season, and I think that'll only go further in coming seasons, and that would be the Colorado Avalanche. Perhaps the only team that's more hot than Vegas over these past few months. They're rolling at the perfect time. Following a rocky start, they've surged back to the top of the league standings. Since March 9th, get this, they're 17-1-2. That's right. They've gotten points in 19 of 20 games over the past month and a half. It's exceptional. And you look at the lethal scoring trifecta of Nathan MacKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and Mikko Rantanen. They've combined just 3 players for a total of 151 points of offensive production this season. And they finally look simply like they're poised to break through. They've had some postseason hiccups over the past few years, falling short, whether that be in the conference quarterfinals, conference semifinals. And I like their forward depth. I think that's what puts them over the top. They go out, get guys like Andrei Burakovsky, Jonas Donskoy, Nazem Kadri. This past offseason, Brandon Saad. On the defensive end, they shore that up with a guy like Devin Taves from the New York Islanders. And then on that back blue line as well with Sam Girard and Cale Makar, those are 2 of the league's most exceptional young defensemen. They really have a solid core all around. And as long as they can solidify their goaltending, it's been a little shaky with Philip Grubauer. They did go out at the trade deadline and acquire Devin Dubnyk from San Jose. As long as they solidify that, I feel like they're a clear Cup favorite for the first time since they won it all in 2000, 2001, 20 years ago. So who do you look at as a team that could kind of be flying under the radar as we embark on these Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yeah, Luke, in my opinion, I think the Pittsburgh Penguins are a sleeper team. Casey DeSmith and Tristan Jarry have had a lot of good memories as goaltenders for the Penguins this season, a lot of good games, I should say. When I mentioned the Golden Knights would win the Cup, I talked about Lehner and Fleury because I feel that it's important to have good goaltending to win a Cup. You think about when the Penguins won the Stanley Cup 2 years in a row in 2016, 2017, they had Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray. There were times when Penguins fans would think to themselves like, well, man, Fleury's not playing well. So what did the Penguins do? They put Murray in, and he played better. And then there would be times Murray would play bad, and they would go back to Fleury, and then they would play good. And that's how they would win games. But I think that even if the Penguins don't win the Cup this season, if the Smith and Jari stay around in the future, hopefully they don't get drafted by Seattle in the expansion draft in the summer. I would definitely think the Penguins would have a chance to win the Cup even in the future. However, though, I feel like they do have a shot in winning the Cup as well this year. Luke, a lot of people would question me thinking that the Penguins should not be a sleeper team because of their experience making it in the playoffs and the amount of Cups they've won in the past decade. But I think with Washington, Vegas, Colorado, Carolina, and the defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, Penguins, I just don't feel like they're getting enough attention, though. Just knowing as well that the Penguins have some really good players in Sidney Crosby, arguably known as one of the greatest players, active players in the league right now. And then maybe Malkin comes back, Brian Rust will be there, Jake Guentzel, Chris Letang, Jared McCann, Jeff Carter, who the Penguins picked up in the trade deadline. He's won 2 Stanley Cups with the Los Angeles Kings, played with a lot of teams, has had a lot of playoff experience, and also known as had a reputation of winning a lot of games. They can definitely find a way to get the job done. And even if Tanev returns for playoff time, that would be great for the Penguins as well. And besides, Mike Sullivan has already won 2 Cups already. He can examine his team and know what they have to do to face whichever team they'll face during playoff time. So that's my sleeper team right now, Pittsburgh Penguins. What about you?
Well, I agree with you in that regard that they're viewed as a sleeper. I think you look at a lot of preseason projections, and given the division they were in with Boston and Philly, Washington, the Islanders, and even the Rangers, a lot of people had the Penguins as a 5th or 6th place finish, and they're looking like now they could even win that division, so it has been a very impressive job. Another team that I like that's been flying under the radar, kind of similar to Pittsburgh over the past decade to 15 years, they've been a postseason team. Obviously, they've never gotten over the hump, but that team's the Minnesota Wild. They have been sneaky good this year. After a few years stuck in mediocrity, they've missed the playoffs, I believe, 2 years now, but led by rookie sensation Kirill Kaprizov with 19 goals and 19 assists, so 38 points in just 45 games played. They're not bowing down to the higher powers that we've mentioned, Colorado and Vegas out in that West division, that division we seem to not be able to get away from. But versus those 2 teams this year, they're a combined 7-5-1, so like I said, they haven't bowed down. That includes a 4-0-1 mark against Vegas, so they've recorded points in all 5 games against the Golden Knights with 2 still to play against them. They've also been strong in the defensive end. You have Ryan Suter and Jared Spurgeon back there. You bring in a veteran like Ian Cole. I really like that. They've killed 83.7% of the penalties they've committed this year, and that's good. That's tied for 6th best in the league. They're a defensive-minded, gritty team. They don't allow a lot of goals. Don't be surprised to see them sneak into this year's quarterfinal or even the semifinal round. Now, it will be tough playing Colorado and or Vegas. That's just it's the way the cookie crumbles, but I really like what Minnesota's done, and they are building a strong core moving forward. So now we've touched upon who we think will win it all and who could be sneaky good. Who's a team that you don't see living up to expectations this postseason?
A team that I don't see living up to expectations is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I feel that the Maple Leafs are playing in the easiest division as they're expected to be the number 1 seed in the North at the end of the regular season, assuming Edmonton somehow doesn't get on a really hot streak before the regular season ends. But yeah, if the season ended today, the Maple Leafs would have to face Jake Allen and Carey Price and the Montreal Canadiens, assuming as well that the Canadiens are 8 points ahead of the Calgary Flames right now, and just thinking that Montreal doesn't fold before the regular season ends. I bring up the idea of both of these goaltenders again because they both have experience. You think of everyone knows who Carey Price is. He's been playing for so long. A big reason why Montreal has won games in over the past decade. And then I talk about Jake Allen too, just because of the idea that I just think of him as one of the best backup goaltenders. I shouldn't say best backup goaltenders, I should say one of the most underrated goaltenders. You saw what he did in St. Louis though. He would always have maybe just a sub 500 record when he would play in St. Louis though, but those wins that he would help produce though, they would help St. Louis be really high in the standings and at least make it to the semifinals of the Western Conference playoffs. And Carey Price, you think of it last year, Luke, he led the number 12 Montreal Canadiens to beat the number 5 Pittsburgh Penguins last season. And just knowing that no one really, well, I shouldn't say no one, but not a lot of people had Montreal winning that series against the Penguins though. But the fact that he was able to do so though just showed how strong he is, and just the idea that the Canadiens can actually just win games with just Carey Price. So I also look at their offensive production. And right now, Tyler Toffoli also leads the team in goals and points, but you have to think that every player on that team is making an impact. As the Canadiens really don't have a number one star, I'm just going to read you aloud, I guess, the points for the top 7 or 8 players. Like Tyler Toffoli has 33 points, Jeff Petrie 32, Thomas Tatar 29, Nick Suzuki 27, Josh Anderson 24, Jonathan Drouin 23, Brendan Gallagher 23, Denault has 21, and Kokaniemi has 20. The points I just read you on all those players, though, just shows that, to me, that every game that someone different on the Canadiens stand up. Like, you can look at stats on these other teams, and you can see that a team's top scorer leads their second top scorer by like 10, maybe 15 points, though, but this is not the case here. And so that's why I think Montreal actually has a chance to beat the Maple Leafs. But I get that the Maple Leafs also have stars in Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Jonathan Terrace, William Nylander. But in their careers, I just do not have enough trust in them right now. And the Maple Leafs, to say that they can make a deep playoff run, I just can't say that right now. I feel like they got to do it at least once for me to pick them in the future. And Montreal has lost to Toronto only by 2 goals or fewer. And if they're not getting destroyed when they play Toronto in the playoffs, like, they definitely have a chance to win and play their best game. Toronto's 4-2 against Montreal. Yes, I get that. That's a good record that they have right now. They still got to play them 2 more times, though. But Montreal's record against Toronto, 2-3-1. Yes, that's below 500, though, but they've gotten points in half those games. And as I said before, just all 4 of Montreal's losses against Toronto, 2 goals or fewer. It's not like they're getting blown out or anything. So, yeah, that's why I believe that Toronto just not going to make a deep playoff run, Luke. So tell me, who do you have as an early exit team?
Well, I do agree with you in that sense, and I think it's hard to see a team advancing as far as many people believe the Maple Leafs can when it's been, I believe, 4 straight years now that they've been ousted in the first round. And I think in 3 of those instances, they've been forced to a Game 7 or, in last year's case, a Game 5, and they just couldn't get the job done. So I completely agree with you in that regard. I take a look at a team. They've been a similar feel-good story to the Minnesota Wild. I gave it away. My early exit would be the Florida Panthers, and that we should not discredit anything that Joel Quenneville has done in just 2 years in South Beach because, for lack of a better term, it's been nothing short of miraculous. They have been a team that's constantly in the bottom 5 of the league standings, and this year they found their way into the top 3. Now, granted, we talked about roadblocks with Minnesota being potentially blocked by Colorado and Vegas. Unfortunately for Florida, they're blocked by arguably 2 of the league's best teams in the Carolina Hurricanes and last year's Stanley Cup champion, the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I see it as a tough path for them. They haven't had much success against those 2 teams in the regular season this year. I do like what they've done in terms of acquiring depth. They go out, get Anthony Duclair, Patrick Hornquist, Carter Verhaeghe, Alex Wenberg. They've really solidified that depth to complement their 2-star forwards, Jonathan Huberdeau and Alex Barkov. But they are a bit of an older team, a little bit slower, and as we've seen here in Pittsburgh with the Penguins Stanley Cup runs, speed wins championships. Speed in a defensive-minded game. You need to be able to score, but when you're a quick team that can get pucks into zones, that's a key way to win games, and I just see Carolina and Tampa Bay having the slightest of an edge over Florida. And also, you're paying Sergei Bobrovsky as much money as he gets paid. In all likelihood, he's going to be your starting goaltender come the Stanley Cup playoffs. And unfortunately for him, in past occasions, he's had a tendency to implode come playoff time. So there's no reason to not believe that won't happen again unless something drastic happens. Now, we saw in 2019 when he was with Columbus, he was able to carry them to a 4-0 sweep over the Lightning for their first series win in franchise history, but then second round against Boston, he kind of reverted to his old tendencies. So like I said, nothing should be discounted about what Florida's done this season. Unfortunately, I just don't think they're as good yet as the Hurricanes and Lightning, and I think that will be a shortcoming for them. And thank you for watching. That's all the time we have for today. We appreciate you tuning into the Press Box all year long. We'll be back next year, of course. We wish your team the best of luck in its quest to the Stanley Cup this year. Again, thank you for tuning in all year. See ya.